Last night I filmed a special with Glenn Beck, and it was a lot of fun. We talked about some heavy topics, but managed to have a fun time nonetheless. We were talking about the biggest stories of 2025 and making our predictions for what's going to happen in 2026. And I think that you will like my prediction for 2026. My biggest prediction for 2026, and if you have time, watch the entire Glenn Beck special because I think you will enjoy it. My biggest prediction for 2026 is that a member of the U.S. Congress will be denaturalized, removed from her seat in Congress, and deported from the United States of America. And it's no secret to whom I am referring. It's no secret that the member of Congress who I think will face denaturalization, removal from Congress, and deportation from the United States is Ilhan Omar. A new report from the Daily Mail reveals pretty airtight evidence that Ilhan Omar actually did marry her brother all those years ago. It's an accusation that's been circulating for quite some time, but no one ever had exact proof because Somalia is not so good with the documentation since they're a third world war-torn country. But there have always been rumors swirling that Ilhan Omar married her brother. Well, according to a new investigation by the Daily Mail, there's even more evidence than that. Ilhan Omar's first husband, she married here in the United States only in a religious ceremony. She married a Muslim man named Hersi. They were married by a Muslim cleric in an Islamic ceremony, but they never married civilly. So their marriage was never recognized by the United States government. They got married purely in a religious setting. And Ilhan Omar was married to Hersi for many years. But then suddenly, she, in a civil ceremony, was married to a different man. She married a man named Elmi, the man who is accused of being her brother. And what's odd, Ilhan Omar is clearly a practicing Muslim. She wears a hijab everywhere she goes, and I believe professes that she is a practicing Muslim, and yet she was married to Elmi by a Christian minister, which seems odd that a Christian minister would agree to marry two Muslims, but it also seems odd that two Muslims would ask to be married by a Christian minister. And perhaps the reason that they ask a Christian minister to marry them, according to someone who knows them both, is because any Muslim cleric around the area that they live would have recognized the familial relationship, the sibling relationship between the two of them, and would have refused to perform the marriage ceremony. By marrying Elmi, Ilhan Omar secured him residence in the United States, although he did later leave for the United Kingdom. But that's not even the strongest reason. That's not even the primary reason that Ilhan Omar should face denaturalization. The primary reason is her status as a naturalized citizen was, according to some very credible reports, based on a lie. Ilhan Omar's father claimed that he was fleeing Somalia because the communist Marxist regime at the time was after him. But sources tell journalist Ashley Rinsberg that Ilhan Omar's father was actually a member of that violent communist Marxist regime. He worked in propaganda, and he was fleeing because the government was being toppled by the people, and he was afraid for his life. Well, eventually Ilhan Omar's father claimed asylum here in the United States, and Ilhan Omar became a naturalized American citizen. But if it was based on a lie, then her citizenship ought to be revoked. Interestingly, this is not just a story that ought to be used politically to torment a member of the opposition. We have laws in our country, laws that should be enforced and followed. Otherwise, it renders our laws completely meaningless. And thankfully, border czar Tom Homan has confirmed that Ilhan Omar is, in fact, under investigation for immigration fraud. Take a listen to this.
The border czar, Tom Homan, joins us tonight to talk about Minnesota as well as a number of other issues. And, sir, it's good to have you back on the show. Trump mentioning the Daily Mail reporting from 2020 that Ilhan Omar married her brother to get into the country. This was last week. Take a listen.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud.
calls that a fraud. It's a story that has never been successfully refuted, even though it's now a 5-year-old story. That's clearly a deportable offense. Is there an investigation into that?
You know, I just got advised by a fraud investigator the other day on that. I asked the question, who reviewed the file, and says that, there was immigration fraud involved. The statute of limitations became an issue in the last 4 years when this was first brought up. Who was president? Who ran DOJ? So pulling the records now, pulling the files, and we're looking at it. But this fraud investigator, who I know personally, one of the best fraud investigators in HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, said there's no doubt he reviewed the file. So I'm running that down this week, matter of fact, and we'll see.
It's tremendous that, and according to the Secretary, Kristi Noem of DHS, she said nearly 50% of the visas are fraudulent in this community. That would mean that half the Somali refugees are here in some way illegally. What's going to happen? Is something actually going to happen? Are there going to be people stripped of their visas, deported? Are we going to see that?
Absolutely. Those days are over. Thank God President Trump's in the White House. We're going to look at all of them. We're going to look at those here illegally. Of course, we're going to look at those here under a visa or some sort of, immigration process that are criminals. We're going to look at the national security threats. But those who came through a process that weren't properly vetted, who didn't provide documentation, who slipped through the Biden's weak processes on, giving visas and temporary, whether student visas or visitors visas or whatever. We're going the whole gamut.
He's running it down this week, he says. Make it come true, Mr. Homan. Make my 2026 prediction come true even before 2026 hits. There is evidence. There's so much evidence. This is cut and dry evidence. And I'm not even one that jumps on a gossip story from the beginning. I remember when I first heard this report that Ilhan Omar married her brother, I was like, that sounds like a conspiracy theory that's forwarded on email by your boomer uncle. And listen, when you read it, that's not what it is. This is a credible accusation. She has 2 credible accusations on an AOL email. That's what my producer Spencer saying in my ear. Definitely that would come from an AOL email. 2 credible accusations of immigration fraud, marrying her brother and her father. Her father's name is Nur Omar Mohammed, and that he neglected to mention that he was a senior officer in the military of the Siad Barre regime, likely specializing in propaganda, according to Ashley Rinsberg. That is grounds for denaturalization, removal from Congress, and deportation. Please make my 2026 wish come true. Our movement is gaining ground. People around us are waking up. The mainstream media leftist narrative is cracking. At Blaze TV, we've built a home for some of the strongest, smartest voices in conservative media. When you subscribe to Blaze TV, you're not just watching content, you're supporting a movement. You're backing creators who think for themselves. It's everything that the networks won't show you, delivered on your terms on any device, anytime. And it starts at just $8 a month. BlazeTV.com/Liz, promo code Liz.